Hey internet, it's your favorite it girl Candace, and today I'm going to be giving my unpopular fashion opinions. So I've been thinking of how to put more fashion content on my channel, because I realize I'm doing a lot of vlogs. Just as the easiest and quickest thing for me to get out for you guys, but I want to bring some fashion content back to the channel. So I had this idea for unpopular fashion videos, because people give unpopular opinions, but let's do the fashion version, because I have a lot of hot takes. The thing is the aesthetic glorification of fashion that's going around mostly because of TikTok. So originally people would just make their own style, and people would just dress how they want to dress. And yes, there's subcultures, but it's still, you can dress however you want. But because of TikTok, now everything is lovecore, coquette, cool girl style, Sade girl. Everything is just niche and specific. Originally coquette was a subculture, and it had its own lifestyle philosophy thing, similar to goth, how there's a whole scene and music and lifestyle that goes along with it, even Lolita, not to that extreme, but Lolita fashion is like that as well, where it's not just about clothes. But because it got on once coquette got to TikTok, they made a very mainstreamed watered down version of coquette, and made it specifically certain items and certain brands, and if you didn't have this, then you're not going to be coquette, which again, coquette is just whatever. It's like punk, you can dress however, but it's just you have to follow that idea and that ideology. Okay, I don't know if this is making sense to people who don't know fashion stuff, but they just made it very capitalist based, where it's just again, you have to have this brand. And that's not what fashion is about. Fashion is just expressing yourself, and just having fun, dressing up, making yourself feel good. That's what it is, coming into your persona and presenting to the world who you want to be. And even fashion could just be for comfort. It's just so many different reasons to dress up or dress the way you do. And it's it doesn't have to be a specific one style or a specific type of person wears it, or a specific body type. And that's the problem with again, aesthetics and core fashion. And low-key, I thought Aaliyah core was gonna make everybody be oh, you have to create your own personal style, you can take inspiration from different things, but ultimately you make your own style, you make it your own. But that just made people do cores even more. What the hell is a Sade girl? What does that mean? What does any of this mean? And it's I think it's called micro trends. TikTok will make you go insane, because they just think of these random specific things, when the cool girl thing was happening, or the siren thing, or the mermaid core, and it's just too many cores, or the summer, the Key West kitten style. It's nobody wants to be original anymore. Nobody wants to be original anymore. Nobody wants to actually just go against the grain and just wear whatever. And the other thing is that these trends literally last not even a month. They don't even then. Before, trends used to last years and decades, but now it's trends just move so fast. It's who cares about being on trend, because it's just gonna change next week. And oh, this is another one. And then they also take cultural things too, and then try to make a trend. They'll try to be mob wife aesthetic. I know what they're saying, but do you realize what a mob wife actually is, and that you would never want to do that, and that romanticizing that is bad. But whatever. Point is, I'm saying I'm tired of people being unoriginal. Stop coming into people's comments talking about, where did you get this piece from? And that's the problem with social media also, is now we have access to celebrities and stuff, so we can see and research and ask them where they get stuff from. And it's people act like they're babies, and they can't just create their own style, or discover pieces on their own and things like that. So yeah, I feel that's a big problem in the fashion community, and I feel that's why we're not going anywhere, because of these stupid micro trends that keep coming and going, and it's not allowing for any creativity. So. And then speaking of unoriginality, the next unpopular opinion I have is, I don't know if this is a hot take, but like how celebrities are always referencing things, but no one's ever doing like an original look. Like, okay, like Sabrina Carpenter's album cover was like referencing some obscure photo shoot. So was Ariana Grande's album cover. Like, it's always paying homage to something in like the outfit. Like, why can't you just wear whatever you want? Everything is always like referencing something. And like, even that goes into another hot take I have, is like where I'm personally just over Y2K. Like, I'm over early 2000s. I'm over McBling. I'm over it. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care. There's other... It's not even just about like dressing vintage. Like, there's other decades that you can like look at. Like, the 60s has some great fashion. Like, I've been obsessed with the 60s for like, I'm having like this phase. I'm always obsessed with 50s fashion. Like, the 2000s was not peak fashion. It was definitely not. It definitely wasn't. The only thing I will say is I love the silhouette like of the 2000s with like the low-rise jeans and like the crop tops. But like, it's just been so outdone. Like, Y2K, it came back in like 2000, like it came back in COVID, and it just will cease to leave. There's only so many references and so many recreations of looks before we just end up dressing like that again. And I think we really need to stop. And like, again, like I said, the trend cycle is like fucked up because of TikTok and like the internet. Because now it's like 2010s is coming back like as a style, and people are like romanticizing 2010s. I'm like, that just happened. It just ended. What's happening? Like, it's literally 2024. It's only been 4 years into the new decade, and we're already talking about 2010s is old and nostalgic, and we need to bring back styles. What? We were just there. We were just with the mustaches and the galaxy pants. We don't need to go back. I don't ever want to go back. I take little things from each like decade with style. Like, I really like the sew-in like vixen weaves of the 2010s, and like the big, I don't know what they're called, but you know those big boots that they wear with the heels, and it's like, I don't know what they're called. I take certain things from certain things, but I don't think we need to always be bringing something back. Like, we don't need to be like, the 90s are coming back, the 2000s are coming back. And it's like, people, also I hate that people are unafraid. People are always afraid to go back past the 90s. Like, the 90s and 2000s are not the only years where fashion was good. There's some good shit in the 80s. Like, there's some good clothes in the 80s. And people were so scared to dabble in that. They were so scared to dabble in, like, even the, like, 40s or, like and more interesting stuff. But I don't know. That's just something personally that I think is, like, I think we can move on from Y2K now. Like, especially, like, people don't even know what the fuck Y2K is anymore. They're just wearing regular outfits and then calling it Y2K. Like, enough is enough. Make it die. I don't want to see any more. Like, let's experiment with the 60s. Like, let's do different things. We can do different things, okay? And stop paying homage to things. Just do original look. I'm so tired of references. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry this video is getting very ranty, but it's just true. Okay, so the next thing. Okay. My next hot fashion take is BBL fashion. Now, I was never too crazy about BBLs. As a black person, I'm like, well, as a black person that's not around a lot of black people and equally is not around a lot of white people, I just assumed that all black girls had big butts. So I'm like, why are we all getting, how big do we want our butts to be? They're already huge. My butt is big. So I've never had to really worry about that or be insecure about that. And also, like, I'm not forgetting the early 2000s diet culture where everybody wanted to be as skinny as this USB thing. Like, everybody wants to be yeah. I'm not forgetting when y'all would shame people who would literally be this skinny and then you would say they're fat. Like, the 2000s was an insane time. It was insane. So I never, like, accepted, like, my body type was never going to be, like, I'm on, like, the halfway point. Because I have that skinny, winning body, but then I have a big butt. So it's, like, I'm kind of at the halfway point. So I can't really relate to either side. But BBL fashion, we really had a BBL epidemic. It was an epidemic. Everywhere I turned. Everywhere I turned. And I like big booty as much as everybody else. But it was getting to a point especially with baddies. Like it was getting to a point that I was like, okay, people I know in real life, every week I'm hearing about somebody getting a BBL. Like it started to get like a little insane, and like people talk about blush blindness and brow blindness. Again, another stupid micro thing on TikTok. Just making up things to make you feel insecure about. But y'all had BBL blindness, like. And then the fashion that comes with it, because you can't really wear. The thing is, people want to get BBLs, but they don't understand the dark side. This is not the biggest dark side, but people don't understand the dark side to having a big in a small waist. People don't understand, like, they hear, like, Doja Cat, like, I ain't got that. I mean, coke bottle body, I ain't got that. We got time, we got right on that. I'm gonna stop. People hear her say it, but they don't understand the suffering of wearing jeans, and they fit your legs and everything, but they can't fit past your butt. Or even if it does fit past your butt, now it doesn't fit your waist because your waist is so tiny. So people don't understand that there's actually a fault to having a BBL and having one naturally. And that's why they have to wear certain clothes, because they can't wear regular clothing. That's why you see them wearing like those zip up hoodies and like a lot of stretchy materials, things like that, because that's the only thing that can really fit their body. Like, but like, can we retire the lace IMG bodysuit? Can we retire that? Can we retire it? It's done. Like, I remember in like during COVID, it was starting to become a trend to wear like lingerie, like as like regular clothes, like to try and be like more like feminist and positive and be like, it's not just sexual. Lingerie is not just for men. Like, it's not just for wearing it for your partner. You can wear it just for yourself, which I liked the idea. And people wearing like corsets like outside as regular clothes. I thought that was I was like, wow, fashion's being really progressive. This version of that, not so much. And I'm not even like a prude or like a conservative or someone like that. I just don't. It's not flattering unless you have a BBL, and it's just. It looks just cheap. And again, it's not that you have to look expensive, it just looks cheap. It's not stylish. It doesn't say anything about your personality. Nothing. It just is nothing. And it just looks cheap. And I want to retire the entire BBL fashion aesthetic. I don't think it's cute at all. It's not. They wear that because they have to, not out of choice. Like, wrap up. Also, the fact that BBLs are kind of coming out of style now really just irritates me, because it's like, y'all just come up with something for people to be insecure about every day and expect us to just move on. Like, people really got those surgeries, like, and they really have to deal with it for the rest of their life. Okay, this one is really gonna be this one is really gonna make people mad, but I really don't care. The style icon of this decade so far, there's two people that it could be. It's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers, but it has to be said. The first one, people are not gonna be as mad at, but the first one is Doja Cat. Now, am I a fan of Doja Cat? Yes. Yes, I am. Does that make my opinion biased? Probably. Doja Cat. She started off this decade with a bang. A bang. Everybody knows her Schiaparelli? Yes, her Schiaparelli red crystal look that she wore to, I think it was a Schiaparelli show. That set off the decade with a bang. That's going to be in fashion history books. Like, it just is. There's no denying it. That's just what it is. Also, her Met Gala look with the cat. Not the new Met Gala look with the t-shirt. The Met Gala look with the cat. So many recreations of her looks. Like, just the outfit she's given. And, like, even, like, turning, like, that, like, rap girls can dress alternative, like, it's just, Doja has sons now. She has sons. I've seen her influence in fashion all over people, and oh, in the makeup sphere, like, people are not afraid now to like be a little ugly with their fashion, because not everything has to be sexy. You can just do a look because it just looks cool. Like, not everything has to make sure you look sexy, and that's why I'm loving this like era of like uglification in fashion that Doja Cat started. And I'm going to continue that theory of uglifying fashion with the second person that I think is becoming like the style icon that's defining this decade. Now, guys, don't eat me up, please. The next person is Bianca. Who's Bianca, you may ask? Kanye West's wife. Now, I know. People think she looks gross. People think her outfits are dumb. She's just being naked. It's just some publicity stunt. But it's actually fashion. It really is. And it takes a really keen eye to understand. Now, when I saw Bianca's outfits, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is she wearing? Is she wearing anything? I can't tell what I'm looking at. This isn't sexy. She doesn't look good. But this is the point what I'm saying. You can make a look, but that doesn't mean you have to look good. Like, it could just be like a cool look. Like, so then I saw her looks being reinterpreted, whether it was subconsciously or on purpose. I've seen it reinterpreted into a way that was fashionable. This brings me back to Doja. All Doja's looks leading up to the Met Gala, where she had like all these like naked looks, and like she was wearing like saran wrap, and like it's very reminiscent of Bianca, and people were saying that she's copying Bianca, and there's a lot of looks where she just straight up copied outfits she wore, but she just did it better because Doja has style. So seeing that really showed me like you have to be way more open. This is a lesson I learned. This is not for like you guys, but you have to be way more open-minded with fashion, because what you may think is like trash and ugly, or like I would never wear that, is literally, if you see it done right or you see how it's styled, they're gonna see like, oh, this actually has a lot of potential, and it just opens the doors and opens your mind to so many possibilities with fashion. That's why I love fashion so much, because I just love learning new things. And yeah, I just seen it done in a better light. And there's also this influencer on Instagram, which she has a lot of sons too, but people tried to call her style weird and gross. But it's also very reminiscent of Bianca. They're also very reminiscent of Doja. Her account is Slow Mafia, and again, I can see you think her outfits are weird, but again, I've seen this style interpreted. I don't know what this style is called. Again, not trying to like be like the core, and what core is it? I'm obsessed with this way of like wearing like underwear and like wearing like undergarments as like actual clothes. Like, I don't know, it's really cool. It's really cool. Oh, and also like this weird silhouette she does with like the big top and then the small bottom, and like I love like the colors, and yeah. Okay. So yeah, Bianca is our style icon. She's our fashion icon of the decade, and be mad about it. Be mad. The next thing is more about high fashion. So I am someone who's going to fashion design school. I'm going to the prestigious Fashion Institute of Technology, and actually the end of this month. So I'm gonna give you guys a first day of school vlog. I don't know how I'm recording because I'm gonna be so awkward, but I'm gonna try to push through my social anxiety and record anyway for you guys. Okay, but so I'm researching like different designers and like models, and like trying to understand like the whole scheme, just to get like some background information, because I never really looked up into high fashion. I was more into like alternative fashion because I thought I would learn that in school. I don't know, I just never really looked into it because I also didn't want to idolize these people. I don't know. So I'm doing research. I'm doing like back to basics refresher course on like designers, so that when I go to school I can like actually like mingle and network with people and know what I'm talking about, at least even a little tiny bit. So learning like the history of like Chanel and like Karl Lagerfeld and all these things. So this is basically what my point was. a lot of the big names are dying. They're dying. Specifically Chanel. Specifically. Just to be specific. And I'm not racist. I'm not. I'm very pro-black. I love black people. I love being black. I love everything about us. But it's low-key our fault. Why do I say this? Why, Candace, why are you saying... And this is the reason I didn't really look into high fashion in the first place. Like brands like Gucci and Louis and Chanel. It's actually not even... Okay, no, it is. It's mostly Dapper Dan's fault. It's mostly Little Kim's fault. It's mostly their fault. I read an entire book about Dapper Dan. I think... Did he write it himself? I think he did write it himself. I think it was a memoir. He explains about his life and like how he became a designer and all these things. So I understand the whole background, everything. Lil' Kim, I don't know too much about her, but I do know her influence on fashion. I love her. But them introducing high fashion into the black community, this is the thing. Most white people in America are regular white people. The rich ones are the 1%. That's why they're the 1%. It's only 1%. Most of them are regular middle class people just like us. Just like you and me. And black people at that time when Dapper Dan was becoming big were very poor. A lot of them. Because we're a minority. So, introducing high fashion to these people, we obviously fall in love with it. We make our own thing. Black people are very creative. We make our own thing. The monogram print. This is the problem. This is the problem with high fashion. Here's my Gucci bag. For my sister. From the 90s. From that era. Monogram print. All over Logomania. All of that. Oh, this is also popularized by Kamora Lee with Baby Fat also. So it's also her fault. So they created this. And it was like our secret and our thing that we did. And the 1% of white people, they didn't really dig it. They thought it was ghetto because that's what associated with inner city, black people, poor people, whatever. That's what's associated with the stuff that we like. But something changes in the 90s. Something changes in the 2000s. Something changed. And somehow now black people were dictating the culture. We still are. And everything that we think is cool to everyone. And that's just the way it is. And everyone starts to come to terms with that. Now we have companies who thought bags like this were ghetto are now using them in their shows all the time. Using them all over their bags, basically stealing his whole Dapper Dan's whole concept. Balenciaga. And Cardi B's like, the Balenciagas that look like socks. We've always been rapping about this, but they didn't give a shit before. But now because black people are cool and hip now they give a shit. Oh, even like Pop Smoke's like Dior. Like he made Dior cool to hood people. Like, okay, whatever. My point is they profited off our whole culture and everything that we made and like all the stuff we did with their brands. And it just dumbed down fashion a little bit, and now it's like the brands, these top brands like Gucci, Louis, Dior, Chanel, it's just like now they're just only want to make cash grabs, and they just only want to be like a status symbol of wealth, which that's what they always were, but not as much. Like they would still care about the design and trying to be like innovative. But now it's just cash grab and get black people to buy because black people will buy it. Because that's, again, our culture is aspiring to wealth and things like that. So having like a Chanel bag is like a big deal to us. So yes, we will buy all of it. So in them trying to market towards us, it just dumbed down the fashion and all they care about is just logomania. Like just making like a regular t-shirt and it saying Gucci. And that's what's like kind of it. And they just focus on like their cash grabs, like their bags and their colognes, their perfumes and their shoes, and not really caring about like the design of anything. Like they only care about like accessories like belts and hats and things like that, and scarves, things that we can afford because it's like the smaller things. That's what most people can afford, not even just black people, just everyone in general, because those things are more people are learning about them because they're listening to rap music, which they weren't before, and more people are learning about these brands and caring and giving a shit because black people are just dictating the fashion in media and pop culture. We're saying this is what's cool to wear right now, so that's what people want to wear. But that's what made me turn off from high fashion, or like at least those big brands. It makes me more lean to like Margiela and Schiaparelli and like brands like that who kind of died off during those eras and then have just recently come back to like reinvent themselves and finally breathe life back into fashion. And that's why it was so refreshing when I seen Daniel Roseberry's work at Schiaparelli, because I just haven't seen anything like that like in the past couple decades. And so like I would try to watch runway shows like when I was a kid, but it just wasn't like, you know, people say like the 90s were like the peak for a reason. Like they were the peak of like high fashion and like runway shows and models and designers. Karl Lagerfeld was at his peak. Like everything was at its peak at that time. So I didn't really get to experience that firsthand because everything had become digital. Not everything was accessible. I couldn't really just read Vogue. I had to like buy it online if I wanted to. Like, so I couldn't really learn about any of those things. And then by then, all those things from the 90s are just outdated and just not what's happening. And all I'm hearing is like, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. And then even like the whole thing with YouTubers and like the internet and just flexing wealth, but not really having any like sort of style or anything, or like just following trends. And it muds your sense of, like, it muds your view on fashion of what it's actually supposed to be, which is an art form. Like, coming from, like, a designer, point of view, not from a customer, not from just, like, someone who just likes fashion and admires it. Well, coming from a person who likes fashion and admires it, it's an art form at the end of the day. It's motion, it's movement, it's design, it's architecture, it's art. That's what it is. And I think we lost that part. But I think with Doja Cat and like Daniel Roseberry and like everything has been done before, so that means that we can start flipping things on its head and doing things differently, and we don't have to follow all those things before. Like we can mix a 60s look and a 1920s look and do some wild shit and then make it modern at the same time. Like you can do that now. You couldn't do that before, because nothing was really new. Like Chanel was one of the designers who made women like start wearing pants. That was revolutionary. Obviously now we can never fathom that being revolutionary now, but like even like I think what fashion's really going to like evolve into is either like just like the textiles are going to be like advanced. I saw Bella Hadid, they sprayed a dress onto her and things like that. Also the models now, we have a lot of Nepo baby models, and that's probably also why stuff is just like not giving, but giving at the same time, because they do have the knowledge and they have the parents, but it's just not the same. If like we need to make room for new things. We need to make room for new things, and I think we need to be unafraid to experiment with fashion. And it's the most creative fashion's ever been, at least in America or whatever. I don't know how conservative other countries still are, but like I feel like gender fluidity in fashion is going to be something big. As dumb as that sounds, but like men's fashion is so practical. I feel like we need to step out our comfort zones a little bit instead of just men wear suits, because women's fashion has evolved so much with like us wearing pants. Like, can theirs evolve? Can we do something there? Like, can something happen? And yeah, I don't know. I just think is room for a lot of interesting things to happen now, because everything's been done before. So now we can take things and flip it on its head. Not paying homages, but we can really show what we bring to the table. Me, this generation of fashion designers. And again, I think Daniel Roseberry shows that perfectly, that we can breathe life into these old concepts. and show people stuff they've never seen before, especially with this whole era of like not everything has to be beautiful, like stuff can be ugly. Like the models now are not ugly, I'm not saying that, like, but like the old models would be very sexy, like everything was just sexy, like they would just be like, and like Victoria's Secret you had to be like, but now we're being like more inclusive and like, you know, like we can like shave our eyebrows now and do some weird funky things and shave our heads and like dress like Bianca and Kanye. Like we can do things like that, and I think that's really exciting. I think that's really cool. And that was my little ranting. I don't know how long this video is. I don't want it too long. How long is it? 31 minutes. Okay, this video has to end. Unfortunately, there was only 4 opinions, but let me know in the comments if you guys like this video, if you want to see another one, or if you just totally disagree with me and you want to argue with me in the comments. I am very happy to argue with you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and I love you. Bye.